No, we were giving you the cake back. We don't want it.
Yes,
We
yes. Hang up
I
the cake.
hang up the cape.
I
Hang
love
up the
it.
cape.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cunty Life and Biz Realness. I'm so excited for our episode today because it is a guest episode with the one and only Rochelle Ford-Wilson. Rochelle is a Queen Embodiment Coach for moms. Did I say that right, Rochelle?
Yes, you did, honey.
Yes. So I'm going to let Rochelle do a little bit of a self intro as well, where she's going to tell you a little bit more about what is a Queen Embodiment Coach for moms. Tell me more. It's so juicy and delicious. And today I'm really excited for the very first guest episode to talk more about what Cunty life and business looks like for us everyday feminist badass entrepreneurs who are just sick of the status quo and we want to do things our own way. Yes, honey. Let's do it. Rochelle, tell the people.
Oh my gosh, I am so freaking excited that I'm number one, your first guest, and number two, that you started this amazing podcast. I adore you and I adore the entire brand that you are building. So kudos to you first and foremost.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me as well. I'm so grateful.
Of course.
So yeah, hello everyone. Hello my Cunty followers of Naomi.
Yes.
My name is Rochelle Ford-Wilson, as she said, and I am a Queen Embodiment mentor for moms. And basically what that means is I support moms in reclaiming all the pieces of her that are outside of motherhood, outside of this typical status quo of what a mom should look like, what a woman in this day with children should look like, and really giving moms the permission again to find her inner queen. And what queen means to me is a badass woman who follows her desires, that takes really good care of herself, and is a mom. So it's not an and or, it's not an or, it's an and. So I'm really, really excited about being here today, but I'm also really excited to share what I do with your listeners. So thank you again for having me.
Oh, I love that so much. I'm so grateful to have you here today. And also for everyone listening, Miss Queen Rochelle has her own podcast as well. So I will link that up in the show notes. What is the exact name of the podcast, Rochelle?
Yes, it is Reclaiming My Queen with Rochelle Ford-Wilson.
Amazing, amazing. And we'll also talk about other ways that people can connect with you later. Yes. But definitely everybody go check out Rochelle's podcast. I have an episode on there where we talk about Cunty, motherhood, and from that lens. So it's just so good, and it's just an amazing movement that we're both part of. This like liberation movement, right?
Yeah.
So what does this look like for you right now? Like, how are you being Cunty in your life and business right now?
Yeah, and I love that question because I think in every stage of life, we're evolving, right? And in this new season that I'm in, which we kind of alluded to in our conversation earlier, is I'm being Cunty because I'm creating a new pathway of being a woman, being a Black woman, a woman who has 4 beautiful children now, a mom of 4, and who is taking care of herself while she grows and expands her business and brand, which is my passion. So I think that kind of goes with it, right? It's like, I'm no longer looking at, I'm a mom, I'm a busy mom of 4. I got like 2 young kids and 2 like pre-teen kids that are keeping me busy. I don't have time to take care of myself. I don't have time to do a podcast, write a book, take care of myself, write newsletters for my audience. Like I'm no longer kind of listening to the status quo and the expectations of what motherhood should look like. And I'm now like really stepping into this new season of life where it's like, I'm doing it the way I want to do it. And I'm also doing it in a way that allows me to take really good care of myself. So I think that is courageous in and of itself, is really taking a lens of how do I desire to create a business, grow my business, take care of myself, nurture myself, self-love, and be a partner and a mother of 4 in this season of life.
Yes, I love it. And I'm wondering, how did you shift into this? How did you start liberating yourself from the confines of, like you said, what we're told as mothers,
Mhm.
what we're told as business owners, what we're told as partners? Like, how did you start this process of freeing yourself from these?
Yeah, and I just want to say it's a evolving process. There's no such thing as
Yeah.
I'm freed. I'm still
Yeah.
freeing myself. Let's be honest here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's a
Every day is
process.
a new
It's a
challenge.
journey.
It's a journey.
It's true. It's no, but this is real. That's a really important caveat. I really want
Yes,
that to be the listeners to like hear that
yes.
again. It is a process. It is a journey, and like that's what
Mhm.
we really like to talk about here. It's not just, or else I wouldn't have a podcast. I wouldn't have a brand. I wouldn't have a business if it was just from one day
Yeah,
to the next. Like, okay,
yeah.
check, it's
There's no
done.
one-stop solution to this. It's an
Right.
everyday decision, baby, every day.
Yeah.
But no, that's a really great question. I am constantly, like I said, every single day, questioning when I make a decision, where is that decision coming from? Is it coming from
Mm,
scared, having to follow the rules, Rochelle, having to live up to certain people's expectations, Rochelle, having to people please,
right.
Rochelle, having to be a martyr for my family and, make sure everyone is okay before me?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I making that decision from Queen Rochelle, which is
Mm-hmm.
loved, supported, taken care of, healed, and still healing, and
Yes.
just a place of empowerment, a place of like, how is this serving me in the highest capacity? And if it's a no, then why am I doing it? Or why am I saying yes to this? Or why am I deciding to do this thing? So I would say for me, the beginning of this process of living into this new reality of questioning things and taking more care of myself is I was the opposite. For a long time, I
Mm,
was a people pleaser. I was,
right.
thinking that motherhood had to look a certain way. If you know my story, if
Right.
any of your people kind of came on board to my podcast or came on board to any work that I've done in the past,
Yes.
I talk a lot about the fact that I became a mom very young. I was married at
Mm-hmm.
22, had my first child at 21. Like
Mm-hmm.
life started early. And
Yeah.
a lot of that, yes, there's some stereotypes around Black women having kids young and all of that. That was only
Mm-hmm.
one section of it. The other section of it was
Yeah.
I was very hard on myself because I'm like, because I'm a younger, quote unquote, I have to be even better of a mom and a better wife because
Mm,
I have to prove people wrong. I have to show
right.
them that, yes, I can, be a great mother, be a great provider for my child, be a great wife, and, climb a corporate ladder because that's at the time I
Yeah.
didn't start a business and do all the things that we're supposed to do at that young age. So I
Yeah.
had a lot of like those heavy shackles on me of
Yeah.
expectation of what I should and should not do, of what I should and should not look like. And
Yeah.
I think in that process of living with those expectations, I started to get exhausted. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, who can live up to this? I had
Yes.
a meltdown. I had a lot of
Yeah.
time where I just was like, this is no longer serving me. I'm very um, in resentment of my life sometimes. I was very
Yeah.
sad. And people might not see this, right? I smile in pictures, I show
Yeah.
up, but
Yeah.
internally I was struggling.
Yeah.
And it all started with me kind of stepping into the world of personal development. So I will
Mm,
say that is the catalyst to my change. I started to
amazing.
read the books. I started to follow, Abraham Hicks and all those
Mm-hmm.
amazing thought leaders in law of attraction and like the work of mindset.
Right.
And lo and behold, I found my first ever coach. I didn't even know coaching existed at this time. This
Yeah.
was like early 2000
Yeah.
and like, what is it, 2014. And I was like, okay, like I don't know what this is, but I love it. She captured me with her post on Facebook. And anyways, I joined this 1 year
Mm-hmm.
coaching certification program. And that
Wow.
changed my life. I would say that year,
Amazing.
2015, was the year that everything changed for me or started
Wow.
this change
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I didn't know that that existed. I didn't know that I could change my mindset, that I could break away from old habits, that I could, create a new pathway for me being a woman, being a mom, being a wife, being who I
Yeah.
am, and not letting that mean X, Y, and Z. So I would say that's kind of
Yes.
where it all started.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Relatable very much. Okay. I think like from a personal perspective, I think that overcompensation, and like I think a lot of our listeners will be able to resonate with this as well, is when you're marginalized in certain ways, you feel the need to like overcompensate
Yes.
in order to gain the like some base level of
Basic respect.
respect.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Which is bullshit, right? And that's a
Hmm.
big reason why I started this Cunty movement, is because it is courageous to do something differently, to see how things are going and see how it's not serving us, and have the audacity to do things a
Hmm.
different way, to be unapologetic, to just say I see the limitations put on me, like you said, the shackles, and
Hmm.
literally like just transcend them and say, no, this is what's real for me, this is what's true for me, and I am enough. And I
Yes.
hear a lot of that in what you're talking about. It's this like reconciliation that you are enough. And
Hmm.
so I would love to hear more about like what helped you gain that, in addition to the coaching, like that courage, that
Hmm.
permission, that like enoughness, and how is that at this point in your journey? How is
Yeah.
that like manifesting?
Listen, Naomi, I could write a book on
And you have,
what, and
listen,
I do
she
have a
has
book, but
written
I
an
could write,
amazing book, y'all.
yes, we will talk about that soon. I could
Yes,
write another
yes,
book on that. That's a whole other
yes.
book, which is what I'm trying to say.
Book number
um,
2.
right? It takes so much freaking courage
Mm-hmm.
to first and foremost acknowledge that you are actually living in this way. So there's so much people that's
Yes.
un, un, aware
Aware.
of the
Yeah.
fact that they are even living up to society's standards and not their own. So
Yes.
that's the first part, is awareness. If you are
Yes.
not aware, you can't change anything. You are just going to be living out the same predicament over and over and over again. So for me,
Absolutely.
I would say that was the biggest um, help, is like first and foremost acknowledging or just naming the fact that I see that this is not healthy. I see that this is not serving me. I see that
Yes.
this is putting a huge barrier on my growth of my, my transformation for myself, and just growing into a
Yeah.
woman, growing into a person that has goals, has dreams, and has, the right to live a beautiful, abundant, thriving life. So
Yes.
I would say number one, it was the awareness piece. Because again, nothing would have
Yeah.
changed if I didn't even know that things needed to change. And
Yes.
then the second piece of that is, okay, now that I know that this is not serving me, this is not doing any justice to my human being, to my marriage, to my mothering, to my
Yes.
overall being of life, how am I going to transcend this? How am I going to move through this? And again, the coaching piece was a huge piece. I will
Mm-hmm.
100% give that credit towards you, because
Aw,
there's so much beautiful things you learn in learning
that's
yourself, because
amazing.
coaching really
Yeah.
means learning yourself.
I have a
So
question real quick.
yeah.
How did you realize that it also wasn't serving your relationship and your family? Because a lot of
Hmm.
times we overextend ourselves and we prioritize everyone else because we think that it is serving everyone best.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
how did you realize that actually it's not?
Well, if you read my book, and I talk about this a lot in the book, I
Yeah.
say, if mama ain't happy, ain't
Hmm.
nobody happy. You will hear
Yes.
me say that a lot. And
Yeah.
I still live to that, because
Yeah.
I truly believe the home is centered around the mother. You want to know why?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
we are the ones who are taking care of the children for the most part. We are the
Hmm.
ones who, if anything goes wrong, if there's a boo boo nice to be kissed, if there's a problem at school, if there's an issue at work, guess who's
Hmm.
going to be the one that these people come home to and tell this about? It's mom.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if mom is like a shell of a woman that she is, if she is unhappy,
Hmm.
if she is depressed, if she is unwell in whatever
Hmm.
capacity that looks like,
Yeah.
it's going to affect everyone.
Yeah.
There's going to be so much stress and anxiety and sadness because of the fact that mom is not well. Kids feel that, babies feel that, husbands and
Yeah.
partners feel that. So,
Even if we are pretending
Pretending.
that
I was just
we're
gonna say that.
well,
Yes.
people
Oh
feel
no.
when we're if we're not, y'all. So this
Your
is different.
energy does
This
not
is
lie. Hmm.
yes. This is not about just pretending that you're
No.
well for everybody else's sake because it don't work. It
It will
doesn't
come
work.
to light. You ever heard that saying, what happens in the dark comes to light? If you are
Yes.
hiding the fact that you are not happy, you're depressed, especially as a mother who's
Hmm.
raising children, they will feel that. They will see that. It will come
Yeah.
out eventually.
Yeah.
So, the biggest thing I always tell moms is, would you, if your child, is growing up watching this version of motherhood, this version of parenthood, and is like, oh my God, my mom growing up was so unhappy. She smiled with me, but then when I saw her turn around, she was always crying or she was always depressed.
Hmm.
She didn't do nothing for herself. She was always kind of
Hmm.
like daddy's little helper or mommy's little helper. How am I gonna like your child's basically gonna say, I guess that's what motherhood looks like. I guess that's what parenthood
Right.
looks like. And you
Right.
don't want that as a parent. You want your child, when they become parents, to live the best version of themselves, to be happy, to,
Yeah.
be a great person and a parent. So I
Yeah.
tell moms, would you want your child to become this version of parenthood that you're exuding for them to see?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the answer is no, you need to change it because they're absorbing what you say,
Right.
not what you say, what you are actioning, what you are doing. So if you
Yes.
are not taking care of yourself, if you are literally a martyr to your family, if you are unhappy, full of anxiety, full of depression, not living out your highest potential, and they
Yeah.
see this, you could tell them all the things in the world that sound so great, but they're going to see what you're doing and model that
Yes.
behavior in their own parenthood, right?
Yes. And for the listeners that are listening that aren't parents, I just
Mm-hmm.
want to really quickly say that there are so many parallels with
Yes,
parenthood and with being an entrepreneur because
absolutely.
I'm listening and I'm thinking of in both ways.
Yep.
All of the things that you just said, if as an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur we are either
Yeah.
faking it or we're anxious, we're depressed, we like are really unhappy with how things are going, but
Yeah.
we're just showing up as if all is well,
Yes.
our customers, our clients, our
Yes.
audience, like they will sniff it out. They will
Yeah.
sense it. They will
Yeah.
get it, right? And a lot of times we
Mm-hmm.
don't realize that. We think we can just fake it till you
To
make it.
make it.
No.
Hell no.
No.
Please don't.
We
Yeah.
need to be cunty in our
Yeah.
parenting, in our life, in our business, which
Yeah.
authentic is like the crux of that, like being
Yeah.
authentic, people really resonate with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I love this so much. So you coaching helped you a lot to come to this,
Mm-hmm.
and so now what is that manifesting like now? How are you being more courageous, unapologetic, notable, transcendent, and you authentically in your life, in your parenthood, in your
Mm-hmm.
business now?
Yeah. Um, Absolutely. I would say the biggest changer or game changer for me is self-awareness. And I talk about this a lot. When I do anything now, when I sit down, when I take a shower, when I'm cooking, I try to be very present with how I'm
Mm,
thinking and how I'm talking to myself. And we actually discussed this earlier. I now stopped being in the busyness of life. And again, life
mm-hmm.
is still busy. Don't get me wrong.
Right, right.
Business
Yes.
is busy. Life is busy. If you have children, if you have like people you're caring for, like life in general is busy for everyone. But
Mm-hmm.
I think there comes a time now, especially since the pandemic of 2020, we all have to start looking at our life in a different perspective, in a different way. Instead of just being in the hustle and the movement, then you end up in this weird place and you're like, how did I get here? You have
Yes.
to now start being present day to day to day, being present
Okay,
with what
Queen.
you're feeling.
Wait, y'all. Like, mic drop. Mic
Mic
drop.
drop.
I hope everyone just like sucked in that goodness, but I want to go a step further and like tell the people
Mm-hmm.
how, like, with examples of how you've done that for yourself, because, like you said, nothing on the outside might have changed. Like, things are still busy, but
Yes.
how have you, like, really found your more peace and more
Mm-hmm.
presence so that you
Mm-hmm.
can be that, like, cuntiest version of yourself amidst the
Yeah.
busyness?
Yeah. You have to give yourself permission. You have to give
Mm-hmm.
yourself permission to, as much as my life is chaotic around me, work is busy, work is stressful, life is stressful, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people around me are stressing me or rushing me for things. I have to give myself permission to live up to my timeline, to my standard of living, to my overall well
Yes.
being. And if it does
Yes.
not fit with your expectation of me, then that's your problem, not mine.
Yes.
So that comes with
Yes.
the self acceptance and the self, you know, give yourself permission. Give yourself permission
Yes.
to create your own standard of awareness, of living, of time. It's a gift. I truly tell every single person that I coach, my clients in my book, in any capacity that you come in contact with me, you have to give yourself permission to be
Mm-hmm.
present and give yourself that self awareness and self acceptance of what you need in that moment. So if you're
Yes.
not being present to how you're feeling, so again, going back to what I said, if I'm cooking, if I'm taking a shower, if I'm on outside with the kids, I love to do that 3 minute check in, just like, oh, what's
Mm-hmm.
happening right now? What's going on around me? What's going on internally? What
Mm-hmm.
do I need? And if I feel like it's like a red flag's coming, like, oh, you're getting a little bit over anxious or you're getting exhausted, you're getting whatever the case may be, I pull in and say, okay, what do I need to do now? Whether that's, okay,
Yes.
hand off the kids to my husband or to a neighbor who's playing outside with their kids. If it's
Yeah.
take a rest, take a bath, take a nap, um, go journal for a little bit, go listen to a podcast and go on a quick nature walk. But you have to continuously check in with yourself before,
Mm-hmm.
before your train gets off the trail, the train
Yes.
track, basically what I'm
Yeah.
trying to
So
say.
it's your version of reclaiming, taking your power back, and like
Taking your power
being
back.
very like proactive and present instead of
Yes.
just waiting until like shit hits the fan or you're fried or frazzled or like burnt
Yes.
out,
Burnt
because that
out.
is like the opposite of just living in your queenhood, right? Like if you're
Yes.
just responding to everyone and
Yes.
everything.
Reactionary.
Right. I
Yep.
love that so much. We have to do this for ourselves
Yes.
because when we are marginalized in some way, or we're just not the like dominant, you
Mm-hmm.
know, group in society, right? We
Yep.
don't have people who are going to do this for us or who are going
No.
to like look out for us and do the
Mm-hmm.
check-ins and like make sure we're well and like
Yes.
it's just not the norm. It's not the
It's not.
norm. And this is part of, I wanted to say this earlier, was the awareness piece. Like if anyone out there feels bad or shameful or whatever that they're
Mm-hmm.
not like fully aware, just know it's not your fucking fault. The
Yes.
system is literally built to keep, it's so every the patriarchy has been so like insidious and systemic
Mm-hmm.
on purpose so that
Yes.
we can be kept unaware.
Yes.
It's all very
Yes.
intentional. So this comes back to, it is so important to take our power back by doing these things for ourselves and
Yes.
giving ourselves this permission, because no one's gonna give you the permission.
No
You
one's
gotta
gonna
give
save
it to
you, honey.
yourself.
No one is going to save you. You have to
This
save
is the
yourself.
truth. This is
Yeah.
the truth, y'all. This is cunty realness. We're gonna
Yes.
keep it real. You
Yes.
have to give the permission to yourself. Do not wait for someone
Yes.
to come give you the permission. Do not
Mm-hmm.
wait for your neighbor to come and say, "Oh, do you want me to have the kids for a bit?" No. If you know that you need a minute,
Yes.
get protect your peace and give
Mm-hmm.
yourself the permission. Ask for
Yes.
help. Do what you got to do.
Yes. And that's the thing. There's so much shame in asking for help nowadays, right?
Mm,
Whether you're a
yeah.
parent or not. It almost looks as if when we ask for something, that means that's a sign of weakness or that's a sign
Right.
of, oh, you can handle this. I thought you're superwoman. I thought you're super mom. I thought you're super this, super that, which we all
Yeah.
know from our last episode. I ain't about that. I ain't about the
Yeah.
super mom tendencies or this
No.
whole paradigm of being a super human being. We are
Yeah.
real. We are honest,
Yes.
real
Yes.
human beings who have
Yeah.
downfalls, who have hard days, who have all the realities of humanity. And
Yeah.
it's about time we give ourselves that space to
Yeah.
be in our humanness. If that
Yeah.
means, yo, I'm
Exactly.
effing tired.
Yeah.
I need a break. Like,
Like,
yes,
who
I have four
said we
kids.
wanted to do it all? Like, who
Yeah.
said this is
No,
all
no.
a freaking part of the way the system is set up is to make asking for help look like a weakness, and to make ourselves hold ourselves up to this crazy standard of superhumanness. Like, we didn't
Yeah.
ask for this. We were just
No.
given this, but we don't want
Yeah.
it.
No, we're giving you the cape back. We don't want it.
Yes,
We
yes.
want,
Hang up the cape.
hang up the cape.
I
Hang
love
up the cape.
it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I tell moms, especially with this archetype of queen. Queen doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean perfection. Queen does not mean sitting on your royal throne and, having the perfect life, having all the
Mm.
resources to your availability. No. Queen
That's
means
so
you're
good.
authentically taking good care of yourself as royalty. You treat yourself like royalty. You're not waiting for others to treat you like royalty. You're not waiting for
Yes.
your partner to give you something, or your children to give you something, or your friend to give you something. You are giving yourself what you need.
Yes.
And because of that, you are reclaiming your queen. You're reclaiming your wholeness, your well being, your desires, your authentic truth, your joy, all those beautiful pieces
Mm.
of being human. That is what you claim when you claim your inner queen. And I just want to reiterate
Yes.
that.
Yes. And just going back to the very beginning when we were talking about that compensation and overcompensation, that tends to happen when we think that we have to be perfect. We
Mm-hmm.
compensate for everything if we feel, oh, I'm not being perfect, so let me just like do even better, right? And I
Yes.
think when
Try
you're
harder.
right. And this really important distinction that you just made about being in your queen does not mean perfection. It gives
Mm-hmm.
us all that permission to stop fucking overcompensating and like
Mm-hmm.
really just believing in our enoughness and like really rooting into that
Yeah.
and negating that perfectionist bullshit.
Yeah. Dropping that because it's not
I
serving
love
you.
it.
It's
Mm.
not serving you.
Yes, it is not serving us. That is so correct. Oh, this is so good. I want to ask you the next question, which is what decision, because you mentioned decision, and I believe that like decisions is a very important part of of living in our Cunty truth is we have to
Mm-hmm.
make decisions. We can't wait for other people to make decisions for us. We
Yeah.
have to make decisions. So, what decision in your life, in your business, are you currently facing that like scarce you? So I didn't realize that this is kind of a made up term because I this is literally like my entire life is living in this juxtaposition of like fear,
Mm-hmm.
absolute terror, and also like extreme excitement.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you
so
for bringing this new term to my reality. I love it.
you are welcome. I hope someone else really enjoys this and uses this in their own world too.
Oh, it will. It will be a trademark from Naomi very soon. Yeah, so I would say the decision that I'm currently in this part of my life, this season of my life,
Mhm.
that excites me
Yes.
is I am now really, really honing in on the the level of showing up versus am I doing it because I need to, or am I doing it because I desire to? And showing up in all
Mhm.
aspects. I'm not even talking about just my business. I'm talking about life.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's the decision. It's like, where am I making this decision from? The martyr Rochelle, the
Mhm.
people pleasing Rochelle, the comparing myself to what X, Y, and Z are doing? Or is it my deepest joy and like passion and, juiciness to do that
Yes.
thing? And I want to do that thing. So I'm starting to now really like be more intentional. And that's another word that I absolutely adore is how am
Mhm.
I showing up to life? It's showing up to your job, your business, your marriage, your partnership, your motherhood, your life. How are you showing up in a way that is not authentically true for you? Because you're
Yes.
either doing it because you think you have to do it, because you have to show up in a certain way again to go with this whole chronotype of the perfection, the superhuman, the XY, whatever it is that you're living up to, the patriarchy. Or
Yes.
are you making that decision from your deepest truth? Like, yeah, this feels good, or yeah, this excites me, but it scares me and excites me, or no, I'm doing it because I think that's the next step of my business. I think that's what
Mm-hmm.
Tony Robbins did, so I got to do that next. Like, whatever. I'm using it as a bad example, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
it's
I
now
do.
time to be intentional with every single decision that you make. And we were chatting about
Mm-hmm.
this earlier, and I am starting to now only follow people online that are basically saying similar things around the piece of do what makes you happy in your business, that makes sense for you and your brand, your awareness, your value, your desires, and then make that good enough. No
Mm.
longer, oh, is this good enough because X, Y, and Z did it this way, or did it longer, or did it faster, or did it shorter? No.
Yes.
Be in your own lane and ask yourself, is this decision, this thing that I want to do, this Instagram post, this yes that I'm going to say or no that I'm going to say to this question, is it coming from my truth? And if it's not, how can you decide differently? How can you say no? How can you transition to a better decision for yourself that aligns with your inner queen, your inner Cunty, your inner
Yes.
truth? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm no longer willing to live my life based on someone else's rule book. So that's the
Yes.
decisions.
I love that so much. Oh, so it's very meta. So, like, your current decision that you're facing is this like day to day intentionality decisions. You know,
Yes.
like that's what I heard from that is that's what you're working on right now. That's what scare sights you is literally
Mm-hmm.
figuring out how to
Yeah.
live your life on your terms more.
Yeah. And
Wow.
taking the responsibility of how that will come out. I used to,
Yes.
that's where the scare sites comes in. It's like, I
Mm-hmm.
used to make decisions based on, hey, I know I have to do this because if I don't do this, X, Y, and
Mm.
Z. But now it's like, no, I make a decision based on my desires, my well-being, my, my inner truth, my overall like wellness for the day. Is this gonna
Yes.
be adding to it or taking away from it? And then when I
Mm-hmm.
do make the decision, I am okay with the consequences. I'm okay with like, oh well, shit, she
Right.
didn't show up on Instagram for a whole week. Where you at, Rochelle? Where you at, girl? And I'm like, honestly,
It was
Rochelle's
in
doing
alignment.
her. It
Yeah.
wasn't in alignment. Yeah. And I'm not
Mhm.
going to be fearful of people who fall off or say, oh, you didn't post 10,000 times a day. I'm going to unfollow you. Or you didn't cook your kids a proper meal today. You
Mhm.
decided to get takeout.
That's
Shame
right.
on you. Like,
Damn right I
whatever
did.
it is, right? Right? You have to truly make decisions based on, you know, where you're at for that day. And that goes back to the piece about self awareness every single day, being present to where you are every single day. That ties in so well. It's scary sometimes, especially when you've been a
Yeah.
people pleasing for so long, when you've been
Yes.
living under other people's rule books for so long.
Yes.
Even in career, like let's say some of your listeners are not at the point of starting businesses, yeah, and they're still in corporate, or they're still, or they love being corporate, they have a job, but like, are
Mhm.
you doing this job because you think you have to? Your parents said it's a good career,
Right.
you decided this thing when you're like 19 years old, and now you're in your
Yeah.
30s. And you're like, I hate this, but I'm going to keep doing this because I don't want to waste all that time that I did. Whatever it is,
Mhm.
you have to start living
For
and thinking from,
relationships.
yeah, is this
Yeah.
serving me still or is it not? And
Mhm.
it's scary when the answer is no. What do you do
Yeah.
next, right? Oh shit, what do I do now?
It
um,
really does transcend, like, leak into so many areas of our life that we
mm,
realize because we, are in this system, we have been told what to do so
mm-hmm,
much. We've
yeah,
been constantly told what to do and what not to do and how to
mm-hmm,
do it and how not to do it and all of this
mm-hmm,
stuff that it is very scary but also exciting when we start to kind of take that power back for ourselves and be in the driver's seat, so to speak,
mm-hmm,
and say, actually, I'm not going to just listen to what I've been told, and I'm going to
yeah,
actually just do things the way that feel right to me. And I think one question that comes up for me sometimes and that people ask is like, oh, if I work with a coach, are you going to tell me what to do? Because I
mm,
think there are coaches out there, and maybe it's more like advisors. Maybe they're not as much coaches. Maybe they're more just like strategists or
mm-hmm,
advisors that will tell you what to do.
yeah,
But that's not the only truth. Like there
Mm-hmm.
are a lot of coaches that will not tell you what to do, myself included, because I hate telling people what to do. I
Yes.
hate being told what to do. So I'm not like gonna tell people what to do, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that you're similar with your moms, your clients. You're not just strictly telling them, okay, you know, do this and then do this and then do this. You're guiding them like what feels right for you, queen. Like
Mm-hmm.
what is the next right step for you?
Yeah.
So, how would you kind of pull those two apart? How would you explain to someone who is like, okay, I'm trying to get more cunty with my life, get more
Yeah.
into my queenhood? How do I bring on a coach without
Mm-hmm.
giving my power away to that coach and just trying to
Yeah.
like fall into that trap of just like, tell me what to do?
Yeah. Well, I will 100% start by saying you are always the one with the answers.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, no thing outside of you can give you the answers that will work best for you.
Mm.
And
Again, for
what,
the people in the back, did you all hear
right?
that? Did you all hear that? You have the answer
Hmm.
that is best for you. We've been
Yes.
told that everybody else has the answers. You
Yeah.
have the one that's best for you. I love it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Hiring a coach does not mean you're giving your power away. Hiring
Mm-hmm.
a coach, a good coach, to so to speak, is
Mm-hmm.
getting someone to help you clarify the answers that you seek.
Yeah.
The answers that you have that are so blocked,
Yes.
hidden away underneath all the shoulds and coulds
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
patriarchy and what my parents said and my
Yes.
ancestors said,
Yes.
and you know, it's
Yeah.
there, but it's hidden
Yeah.
under all that junk.
Yes.
And
Yes.
your coach that you work with is
Yeah.
only there to support you in reclaiming, rediscovering your inner
Yes.
truth. So
Yes.
if
I
you
love
feel
it.
that you're in a coaching relationship with someone who's telling you what to do, you might want
Mm-hmm.
to find another coach,
Yeah. Yeah,
especially if
or
you're
talk
in a,
about that and be like,
yeah.
this isn't sitting with me. Like, just again, give yourself
Hmm.
permission to
Yes.
be honest with people in your life that
Yes.
are just like telling you what to do or just like
Yeah.
rubbing you the wrong way. It starts with you. Like,
Yeah.
you, dear listener, please, like, it
Hmm.
starts with you.
Yes.
Communicate your needs, communicate what's not working for you. That is cunty as fuck. That is
Hmm.
queenly as fuck, that you start
Yeah.
using that voice of yours to like
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
speak it and speak your needs and what's not working for you. um
Hmm. I love that piece though. I think when you desire to, transform your life to get back in the driver's seat of your life, you will start to see for yourself all the ways that you've been listening to other people, to your relatives, to just people that's external to you,
yeah.
that you let be right, that you put on a pedestal, that you've said, oh, your way, yes, that's right. When you get on this whole path, this journey of self transformation, of self awareness, you will see it for yourself. No one is going to have
Mm-hmm.
to come in and tell you, oh, this is a red flag. You'll start to feel that for yourself. So I truly
Mm,
believe that this path of journeying through finding yourself, or as I call it, reclaiming your queen, is so powerful,
yes.
and it's a gift because on that journey you will start to see in all the ways where you're giving your power away, where you are making yourself wrong when you should be actually making yourself right and listening to
Yes.
yourself, and
Yes.
all the ways that you need to come back to your power and get back in the driver's seat of your life. So
Mm,
there is no like step by step process on how to do this. Is more so as you journey through finding and uncovering more of yourself, you will start to see all the ways that you're not living authentically to what's true for you and how you're giving your power away. So I would say don't be stuck or worried about, oh my God, should I hire this coach, or is my coach doing the right thing for me? Am I, listening to them instead of myself? When you start doing this work every single day, showing up and being present, asking yourself, checking in with yourself on how you're feeling, how you're doing, how does this sit with me? It will start to come to light. Like we said, everything
yeah.
that's in the dark will come to light. So just be with yourself, be with the process. When they say accept the process, stay with the process because it will lead you to where you want to go. This is exactly the same thing. no matter what coach you're working with, no matter what book you're reading, no matter what you're doing to get to the, the next version of yourself, it will all transpire the way it's meant to, based on you just showing up presently and being with everything that comes up little by little. So that's what I'll say.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so I know you said that there's no like guidebook or like rule book of like how to do this work of like freeing yourself and connecting, but I think
Mm-hmm.
there is. And I think you fucking wrote it. There's this little amazing book with a purple cover called
Yes.
Reclaim is it Reclaiming My Queen?
Yes,
Tell us
honey.
about the book.
Yes,
Tell us,
it
girl.
is Reclaiming My Queen. The same title as my podcast. It's all the same.
Amazing. Amazing.
I am so deeply honored and proud of this body of work that I did. So in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
really quick story time for your guests.
Yes.
My father passed away very unexpectedly, like 3 days before my
Mm.
birthday. And
Mm.
in that time of like tragedy and
Yes.
sadness and just like questioning all the things about life,
Yes.
I came out of that feeling like there's something that I need to do that I have not done yet. What is it? And that to me, the
Mm-hmm.
answer was you need to write a book. I've
Wow.
been putting it off again with the busyness of life. We talked about this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
When you're
Mm-hmm.
so stuck in the busyness and the going, you start to forget all your deepest desires, the things that your life was
Mm.
calling you to do, right?
Right.
So that was a gift of the pandemic and of the sadness of saying
Mm.
goodbye to my dad. It really
Mm.
highlighted the things in life that I have not done yet that I really want to do in this time. So I said to myself, hey, there's no better time than the present. Let's just get this going. So I started writing this in October, I believe, end of October of 2020. And yeah, it took 2 years, but I did it. I wrote the book, I
Yes,
edited
you
the book, and I
did.
self-published this beautiful book. And it's now
Yes.
out in the world for all the mamas, all the queens to read, to have. But the biggest excitement for me is the fact that one day my daughter, my sons will be able to pick up this
Mm-hmm.
book and be like, yo, my mom wrote this. And this is a piece of
Yes.
her that I get to live on in their world.
Yes.
So
That
that's the
is
most
amazing.
like exciting thing. It's literally the fact that this is something that I could give my grandkids and my
I love
grandkids'
that.
children. It's like a legacy I'm leaving behind. So
Absolutely. And I'm so gutted and sorry like to hear about your dad. I already knew about his
mm-hmm.
passing, but just to hear it again, it's just like it is a tragedy and so heart-wrenching, and I'm sure that our listeners, if they were in the room with us, would also like express
Mm-hmm.
that condolence, right? So I just want
Yeah.
to voice
Thank you.
that. Of course. And I think like this piece about legacy building is so important for us. It's
Mm-hmm.
how we are changing the world, because there are a lot of changes that need to be made. This
Mm-hmm.
world was not built for us, but we are here and we are existing, and we need to like think about how can we leave a legacy so that we can make a difference for our
Mm-hmm.
the next generation, whether that's our own kids or just the kids in general. It's there are things that we can do. There are gifts that we have, these learnings that we
Yeah.
are having right now in real time,
Mm-hmm.
that fly in the face of like how we grew up. Maybe it's like we're learning things that are just completely different
Yes.
than what we were just like handed, right? we're
Mm-hmm.
we're really finding ways to liberate ourselves
Yeah.
and creating these kinds of like rule books, or not
Yeah.
rule book, but like
New
guidebooks.
paradigms. Yeah. New paradigms to live
Yes.
in. Mm-hmm. 100%.
Yes.
It is our
I
time
think
now.
that's
100%.
so beautiful, and I will definitely be putting the link for the listeners to be able to grab your book and listen to your podcast and just follow you and jump into your world, because
Oh,
it's just such a beautiful world to be in. I'm
thank
so
you.
excited to see how this next chapter unfolds as you take these cunty intentional decisions, these
Yeah.
queenly decisions where you're prioritizing what's really true for you, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to what you've been told, or what the old version of you would
Yes.
do, right?
Yes,
So
thank you.
the last little question I will ask is, what is next for your Cunty life, your Cunty business? Like, what is on the horizon for you?
Hmm. That is a beautiful question. And I finally got to this place because I feel like I battled with this every question that I get about this. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, Naomi. And that's the
Okay.
scariest but most beautiful thing I can
Mm-hmm.
ever answer with that question because I
Yes.
used to be such a A-type planner. And I don't know, I think a lot of
Mm,
your listeners might be able to relate to that, where you
right.
always feel like you have to plan every season of your life or else you're
Mm,
not ambitious enough, you're not goal setting, you're not intentional about.
right.
And it's
Yes.
like I have taught myself in this new season that it's okay to not know. It's okay to
Mm,
surrender to the plan, the
yes.
bigger picture, the bigger plan, and
Mm-hmm.
step into it in such a opening way instead of always, keeping your box like this. So in this new
Yes.
season, I'm no longer like I of course I have desires. Of course I have like cool things that I want to do. I want to like,
Mm-hmm.
plan more retreats, write more books. But
Yes. Mm.
in the short term, I am now allowing myself to stay open and let the universe surprise me. I know
Oh,
that every single
yeah.
thing that I need will show up when it needs to. So that perfect divine timing. And also too, it's more fun this way because I am not closed off to certain opportunities,
Mhm.
right? Like I might be like,
Yes.
okay, my next step is doing this in my business, creating a program and
Right.
nothing else. And then a great opportunity comes and I'm not open for
Mm-hmm.
it because I'm just so focused on that one thing.
Right.
So I'm at this stage where I'm like, okay, I'm actually open for anything right now of its
Love
highest
it.
good, right? Not anything of it the highest good, and
Yes.
see where that takes me. I'm definitely really excited about that. So I will say I'm doing a lot of work on, body regulation, nervous system regulation work that's really helping me,
Amazing.
show up much more powerfully in the day to day life as a mother, as a business owner. And that awareness and that learning will definitely be translated through my work moving forward. But other than that, I'm absolutely excited to see where life takes me the next short term and long term.
Oh, I am so here for that. Like, this is the beauty of starting this podcast that is all about realness. This
Yes.
is so important. Like,
Yes.
we are literally looking the patriarchy in the eye and the
Mm-hmm.
ways we've been told to do things, old
Yeah.
patterns, and we are saying a big fuck you. Because it's like, everyone thinks that we need to have a solid plan. Everything that you just
Mm-hmm.
said, it's so true, right? We've been
Mm-hmm.
taught that that's our worth is in our plans, you know? But
Yes.
actually, you're so right. Like, there are seasons
Yes.
where we need to surrender a bit and be open, you know,
Yes.
and like not have solid plans and like
Yes.
go, especially in these transitional phases that,
Mm-hmm.
like we talked about in the previous question, like you're really exploring, like living life
Mm-hmm.
more intentionally. So when you're in that kind of transition, how could you possibly have like
Yes.
solid
Plans.
plans set in place, right?
Yeah, you
So
can.
I love that you said that, and I think our listeners will breathe a big sigh of relief if they
Mm.
are in a phase like this and
Yeah,
they needed
that's
to
it.
hear someone else say this, because
Mm-hmm.
we oftentimes we just hear that, okay, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and this is my plan and da, 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 which is also great. If you
Yeah.
do have things planned out, that's great too,
Yep.
but that's not the only way. It
Yes.
is okay. It is fantastic. It is
Yeah.
beautiful if you're giving yourself some space to breathe and to
Mm-hmm.
let inspiration come in.
Yes.
I know you released a new offer recently,
Yes,
and
I
that's
did.
probably a product of that, like, you know, taking a
Space.
breather from having set plans. So
Yes.
tell the people about this delicious offer that you just released.
Oh, well, thank you for that opportunity. So yeah, 100% this
Mm-hmm.
came through in that space, that stillness piece,
Mm-hmm.
which was so beautiful that I gave myself. So this brand new offer that I have is basically it is called a virtual queen coaching retreat. And what that means is
Yes.
I wanted to give moms an opportunity to break away from their life. So obviously you're planning a retreat, a beautiful retreat in Portugal that I'm so excited about.
Whoop.
And I know that there's so many moms that are wanting to do a retreat, but maybe they're scared to go. They're like, oh my God, I can't be away for like a week. I can't be away for 5 days. I don't know if I can
Right.
make this happen. And I'm one of them.
Right.
I am 100% in
Right.
that boat, right? And I know that because
Absolutely.
I've been there.
Yep.
So I said, okay, how can I make an opportunity for moms to break away from the day to day, from giving themselves a pause on life of motherhood, of like busyness, and basically have a mini getaway without them having to leave their home? And I said,
Yes.
they deserve the retreat too, but they might not be able to
Yes.
take one right now. And I would love to give them a virtual retreat where you come on to a cozy space with me for 90 minutes and we just talk all about what you need in this season of life. And that's
So
something that I
beautiful.
would want for myself. I
Yeah.
definitely, I've
Yes.
given myself my own personal retreats, but I'm holding the space for these moms to step into this beautiful experience where we get 90 minutes of just pouring into you, of you releasing what's no longer serving you, and of creating a pathway as to what you need in this season and how we can give that to you now. So all the
That
beautiful
is
things that we
so,
would do on a
oh,
queen retreat, we're going to do this in a 90-minute session. Obviously, we're not taking on all the things, but the most
yeah.
top priority, right? The
Yes.
most top priority, we are going to dig
Yes.
deep and we are going to have just a delicious conversation and a beautiful takeaway for you to take away from those. You'll get through email as well as a follow-up
Oh,
30-minute call. So it's called a
oh, that
90-minute
is,
virtual
oh.
retreat. And I'm so excited about that.
I am so excited for your clients that do this because I too, I am a parent.
Yeah.
My child is 4 years old, and there have
Mm-hmm.
definitely been times, especially earlier on,
Yes, when they're
where,
young.
yes, where I would have been like, I absolutely need this because we sometimes don't know how to step away. Like, and
Yeah.
that's legit.
Yeah.
And so I think it's so beautiful that you're meeting your people where they're
Mm-hmm.
at, um,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like starting off this journey towards
Yes.
more like sovereign motherhood. You're starting it
Mm-hmm.
off in a way that's like, I am coming to you almost.
Yes.
It's like you're meeting them where they are. I think that's
Yeah.
so incredibly beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
I'm very excited for the listeners who are listening today to go and connect with you on that offer. Again,
Mm.
it will be in the show notes. You better believe it.
Yes.
Everybody is going to have all the ways to be able to connect with you, Queen Rochelle.
Thank you. I so
Oh,
appreciate it.
yes, yes. You are doing amazing work for these mamas. I'm so
Mm.
pumped for everyone who gets to be your client because this is a movement that was needed like yesterday. Okay?
Yesterday.
We are behind when it comes to the parenthood movement. We
Mm-hmm.
need to be liberated. We need to be coached and supported. Parents are out here still doing like way too much, especially moms. Okay? We
Yes.
are like martyring the
Yes.
shit out of this, and it's like we need to stop doing this. We
Yes.
need to
Please.
liberate,
Please,
okay?
Queen. Please.
Cunty motherhood. It's
Yes.
happening. It's
I
fucking
love that.
happening.
I love that.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much. Thank you.
so welcome. So, last thing, and we will have this all in the show notes as well, is how do you want listeners to connect with you?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like chat and tell you, I loved this part of the episode when you said this, or like, where can people come and connect with you?
And hang with the queen. Of course, of
Yes,
course.
yes.
Well, my absolute pleasure is to connect with moms on IG of Instagram. Instagram is my
Amazing.
playground. I show up when I desire
Awesome.
to, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's just a really great place to interact with me. I do a lot of stories. So you will definitely see some stories. You could DM me, comment. I do a lot of fun
Amazing.
polls on my stories. But then get on my email list. I
Yes.
love and adore your email list. So I should say that
Oh,
I'm a
thank
huge fan
you.
of your email
Thank
list.
you so
And
much. I love
something
getting your replies. They just
right,
make
I do. I reply to emails
I
when
really
something
love it.
gets me. I reply, and I love that because you're in my world. It's like a very intimate space to be in someone's email.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see something that really connected, tell us, like reply back to us
Yes.
and be like, girlfriend,
Yes.
that part in your
Yes.
email when you talked about this or what you said about that, we love that as
Yes.
business owners because
Yes.
that means our work is actually transforming, it's changing the way you think, it's like
Yes.
making you, change your perspective on things, or it's just a beautiful love note that you really needed to hear that day. So if you would love
Yes.
some love notes from me, I send them out to my queens on a weekly, semi monthly basis. But when
Yes.
it comes, it will come correct. It will be
It's
a
so
beautiful
good.
way to connect. So definitely get on Naomi's email list if you're not. But if you want to connect with me, that's another beautiful way for sure.
Yes. Your email list is beautiful as well, and I get so excited when I see them pop into my inbox. I will
Oh,
get better at like replying, cause girl, I'm
all
lacking on
good.
that.
It's all
But
good.
you better know I am like sending you all the love. I just love
Mm,
when it comes in. So
thank you.
absolutely, please everybody connect with Rochelle, with a gem of a human being. I am so grateful that you came on today, that you
Mm,
shared so much wisdom and realness,
yes.
and queenhood with
Mhm.
our listeners. This was just such an honor for me, and you were the first guest. That makes me so excited and happy. You
Yes.
have kicked this off in such a beautiful way.
Mm,
I am so, so grateful. Thank you so much,
absolutely.
Rochelle.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this space. I bless this podcast. It is going to change so many
Thank
lives.
you.
I'm sending my
Oh,
well wishes, my blessings, my good intentions
oh,
because it's needed. Your work is needed as well, Naomi. And I
thank
just want to
you.
say thank you so much for having me as your first guest. It is such an honor. And I cannot
Yay.
wait to follow along to see all the amazing conversations, juicy conversations you're going to have. So thank you.